you ready to take your leadership journey to the next level? On the leadership platform TLP, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. This year, we are bringing you cutting-edge insights, transformative tools, and real-world strategies to help you lead with confidence, purpose, and impact. This year, we have 4 seasons with 50 episodes. We will dive into themes such as leading self, leading others, and leading institutions. We bring you Leaders Are Readers. This monthly session focuses on book reviews, discussions, encouraging all participants to read along with selected books on personal leadership and professional leadership. We also have a Time with the CEO. In this segment, we dive into the stories of prominent CEOs who share their insights, lessons learned throughout their leadership journey. We also bring you extraordinary leadership stories, highlighting individuals in our societies who are doing extraordinary things. This segment inspires viewers with real-life examples of leadership in action. We will bring you some brilliant minds, courageous leaders changing the narrative of Africa. We also bring you finally the expert-led sessions, which cover a wide range of leadership and personal development topics, providing practical guidance and actionable strategies for personal and professional development. The leadership platform is your go-to space for personal growth, professional breakthroughs, and meaningful connections. I am Joy Bunsu-Schmutz, co-host on TLP, and I will see you every Saturday, 7 p.m. GMT, live on YouTube and Facebook.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm excited to be your host this evening. We are ready for you. We have a beautiful meal, dinner set to serve you this evening. The CTL Africa team is here. Everybody is geared up. Just because of you, we care about you. We know that this session is going to help you, is going to build you up. We know that the lessons we offer here would uplift your leadership and make you a better leader. We know that the people who come here are experienced and are committed to your growth. And that is why Saturday evenings at 7 p.m. is our most valuable hour of the whole week. Sarah is here, Gideon is here, Joy is relaxing now with her new beautiful baby boy. So reach out to her, congratulate her. Vivian is around somewhere checking off on all of you. Hawaii is somewhere. They're all here. Everybody is here. Priscilla is here. And Elizabeth is somewhere trying to support. Everybody is here. This evening, we're going to discuss an important subject. And the subject is leading with purpose, speak to impact. What does that mean? Well, you wait a minute and you will be amazed. Who is going to lead us? Just give me a few seconds and I will bring him on stage. But for now, if you're connected, just introduce yourself, give us your name, and we will be happy to announce you to the whole wide world. So join us, share the link with your friends, subscribe to our page, like our Facebook pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share to your colleagues, your bosses, your team members, and let them know that you are on the leadership platform, and it's going to be amazing. Nana Fimba Austin is here. Nana, you are welcome to the leadership platform. We're excited to have you. Go ahead and announce yourself. Awo is here. Awo Fiajo. Hello. Awo from Domi is here. You are welcome to the leadership platform. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, go ahead and let us know where you are connecting from, because we are going to rock and roll. Now, before I introduce Papa, I'm just going to play a sound music that Papa has put together around the theme and the need for Africa to rise to the challenge, to lead with a purpose, to communicate our values and our principles with impact. So, Gideon, give us the tune and let's go. All right, Pearl is here. Okay, Pearl is here. Happy to be here. Gloria Apori is here. Gloria is here from Ghana. Good. I will comment on the early birds very shortly. Let's go to have a quick music which Papa has put together before we bring him on board, and he'll come and tell us the essence of that music before he continues. Gideon?
Let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about truth. Yeah.
I woke up with a mission, not a title on my chest, not a name in lines, but a purpose I profess. They said sit back, but I stood with grace. Could change, don't wait, you gotta face to face. I broke the silence with a Toastmaster spark. Eyes break a moment, lit fire in the dark. Discovered my voice, not just to be heard, but to echo in hearts and rewrite the word.
Lead with purpose, let your story shine. Speak to impact, change the paradigm. From the roots to the sky, it starts with you. Africa rising, the dream is true.
They told me to lead, but never showed the way, so I carved my lane from the red earth clay. Community raised me, feedback shaped me. Toastmasters taught me, no fear can break me. Dynamism is down, foresight in my veins. Service in action, multiplying gains. This ain't just talk, this is build and grow. It's legacy work for the seeds we sow.
Lead with purpose, let your story shine. Speak to impact, change the paradigm. From the roots to the sky, it starts with you. Africa rising, the dream is true. Lead with purpose, let your story shine. Speak to impact, change the paradigm. From the roots to the sky, it starts with you. Africa rising, the dream is true.
The drums are talking, the words must be spoken, From Accra to Bamako, we rise as one, This is for Sankara, from a Grumba's dream, for Lumumba's courage, to a unified team. Toastmasters halls, where voices ignite, from Guinea to Togo, we sharpen our line. Generational leaders with minds on fire, not chasing clout, but climbing higher. Speak to impact, that's the flame we hold. Purpose-driven souls, bold and gold.
Lead with quiet, live with purpose. Let your story shine, Speak to impact, change the paradigm, From the roots to the sky, it starts with you. Whoa. Africa rising, the dream is true.
Good. Well done. Thank you so much, Gideon. Thank you, Papa.
Purpose.
Thank you so much, Africa Rising. Speak.
Change.
Therefore, speak with impact. Let your story be told, and let's change Africa. Right. This evening, Our theme is leading with purpose and speak to impact. And we have no other person than the only Papa. Papa Arkurst is one person whose byline is connecting people, shaping mindset, and impacting life. I got to know Papa not long ago. I didn't know that there's such a wonderful person existed just close to me when I joined Toastmasters. Papa is a transformative leader, a connector who believes in building communities, and he's built a number of them. He believes in empowering individuals, he shapes mindset, and he drives impact. That is why he's the right person. Now, he is the general manager of the Page Event Center in Sacramento, Accra, and he oversees a premium venue that hosts life-changing events. So you have an event that is life-changing, that is marking milestones in your journey of life, like weddings, funerals, graduations, celebrations. Papa, the Page is the place you will meet Papa. He's created this page to create memories that will last and that will create bonds that are strengthened during this period. Papa is also a board member of All Faith Medical Center and Corps Africa, Ghana, where he serves as a guardian of values and providing strategic guidance and oversight. Now, this is for me the most important. Papa is a cornerstone of the Toastmasters community in Ghana. He is the first DTM, and in Toastmasters, DTM, which is Distinguished Toastmaster, is the highest accolade you can have. And he was the first DTM and opened the way for several others who have now become DTM. And in 2017, he was reputed to be among the top 100 speakers in Ghana. Papa has supported the Toastmasters community in so many ways. Beside the Toastmasters community, for over 30 years, Papa has built in different sectors, including the tech, e-governance, leadership coaching, event management, and many others. He is a sought after public speaker, and that is the reason he's here. He's a leader who believes in action, he performs. Papa, you are welcome to the leadership platform right now so that we can have I have a quick question for you, right? Papa, your video is off. Let us see your face.
Go ahead, Sam, while I figure it out.
Okay. All right. I think Papa has clicked something and his video has disappeared, but we will get him. So don't worry. Let me, in the meantime, recognize those of you who have just joined us. Whilst Papa fixes his video, he's going to come up right now. All right, so we have Mariama Hadi, all the way from Niger. She's a Toastmaster and she has joined. And I would say it's nice song. Indeed, that was a very nice song. Abigail Tachi is here. I am glad to be here and I can't wait to hear from Papa. He says, my first time encounter with him was great and I look forward. All right. Now you cannot miss that one. And Papa, maybe you have to go out and rejoin so that we can see your video. Olivia Okine is here and he says, good day, RemCTL. Evans Odum is also watching from Kaswa. William Dalfor, hey William, how are you? Long time no see. From Tema. Carol, is it Carol Blair? from the Gambia. Oh, Carol, you're welcome. All right. So at this point, as we await Papa to join, I can see him joining. I can only see the top of his head. So Papa, adjust your camera so I can see you properly. All right, Papa is here. Voila. Good. Papa, you are welcome to the leadership platform. We are excited to have you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful. I mean, I just could not read all on your CV. I mean, there's so much that you've been doing.
You've done more than enough. Thank you.
What is your motivation? What is it that keeps you going to do 1,001 things at the same time when some of us are struggling to do only one thing? What keeps you going? Where do you get your energy from? Do you drink something?
This time I'm just going to use one word, and that word is purpose. I believe when you get in tune with your purpose, it will either elevate you, promote you, drive you, or haunt you. So when you connect with that purpose, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you're going to be having the nightmares and you're going to have the haunting and you will never have good sleep. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it's tough, it will support you, it will galvanize you, it will find you the energy. So what I have to say to everybody is find that purpose and connect with it. And it will basically do the rest. It will either fuel you or it will haunt you, but you will never really be the same. Either way.
Wow. Well, as you say that, I think Sarah has a question. So I'm going to bring Sarah because the things you said, I know Sarah will have a question on that. So Sarah.
Hello, everyone.
One question for Papa, then we can launch into our discussion today.
Okay. One question that I have with Papa for Papa is that Papa, I see that most of the people on the call are ladies. What is your purpose?
I did not want to say that to
You are just you're giving Sam the weapons to launch an attack.
Papa, me, I didn't say that to.
What's
the secret, Papa?
Secret to what? To having the ladies on the platform?
Yeah, we have ladies.
I'm a big believer in women. I'm a big believer in ladies. I'm a son, or should I say a great grand nephew of Kwijira. So yes, I do believe in the old saying that when you educate a woman, you educate the family and a nation. So I'm very intentional about impacting women and engaging and connecting with women. And definitely a lot of my reflection is also done with my female friends because they tend to tell you what you need to hear, beyond being driven, running all the time, trying to get things done. They also remind you every once in a while to slow down, to take a breather, to put your head on a shoulder and don't be Superman all the time. And I think that has saved my life. Let me put it that way. So I do appreciate my ladies a lot.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wow.
So ladies from all over the continent, you are welcome. And we are here for a treat from Papa. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Thank you so very much. All right. On that note, on that lady's note, shall we leave the stage to Papa? Papa, take us away and let's discuss this subject in the next 30 to 40 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I wish we were in a different platform with a lot more time to engage on this topic. But 30 minutes is gracious. And let me see how quickly I can get into the nuts and bolts. I believe that, well, first and foremost, it's important to note that the Toastmasters community, the District 94, which I'm part of, is planning a conference in April next year, of which Sam Yim is one of the chairs for the conference. So somebody I highly respect. And the theme for the conference is Lead with Purpose, Speak to Impact. And so when this opportunity came to engage on this leadership platform, I thought we're pushing the theme, but it shouldn't just be a buzzword. People need to be clear about what this theme is about and what it really means to lead with purpose and speak to impact. So if I had one big idea that I wanted to share today, it is that purpose is a decision filter and impact is a transformation catalyst. Let me say that again. Purpose is a decision filter, impact is a transformation catalyst. Nkrumah is best known for saying we're not Africans because we're born in Africa, but because Africa was born in us. I want you to think about that for a moment and what it means to have Africa in you, in your heart, to drive in you. Samuel Sinek says it beautifully in his book, Start With Why. He says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Stephen Covey keeps saying, start with the end in mind in his 7 Habits. And the Hedgehog Principle teaches you that great leaders simplify decisions around one organizing idea. And this is by Jim Collins, his book, Good to Great. What are they talking about? What is this why? What is this grand why that drives everything? And that is just purpose, right? I think Rick Warren said it beautifully in his book when he talks about a purpose-driven life. He talks about the importance of purpose for each individual. But for a leader, purpose goes beyond just driving you as an individual. It also drives you and the people you influence and helps you to position them in places where they can all support and galvanize towards that dream that is bigger than you or them or all of you combined. And that is what a purpose-driven leader has the option to do. So some may tell you that leadership, some people are born leaders, others may say some happen to have leadership skills, but whatever it is, whether you have to learn it or whether you have to embrace it or whether you came across it, you do have to make that choice when it comes to a purpose-driven leader, because you need to decide to align with a why that resonates with you and drive it wherever you go. So for me, there are 3 things I'm going to share when it comes to leading with purpose and speaking to impact. And then I'm going to share a few tidbits from my own experience, and then we take it from there. So first and foremost, when you want to lead with purpose, you need to name your non-negotiable why. What is that why that you will not negotiate? What is that why that drives you? What is that why that you will not veer from? It's very important to put it down. Now, once you determine that why, it helps you to determine your 4 W's. Now, what are the 4 W's? Your what, your where, your who, and your when. Okay? So what is it that you want to realize, or what does it look like when it's realized? When should it happen? Where should it happen? What's the scope? And where should it happen? And yes, who should help you achieve it, or who should be in your camp when you're achieving it? Then when you do these, the third thing in leading with purpose is it lets you drive, or it drives how you spend your time, how you communicate your brand, and how you engage the world. Be it how you make money, be it how you get investment, be it what you invest in, be it who you spend your time on, how you spend your time, what is urgent, what is important, and so forth and so on. So a lot of times when I take people through time management training or things around coaching, I always try to get them to have clarity on this purpose that is driving them. And that determines what is important and what is not. Of course, what is not important, you discard, because you need to know how to say no. And what is important, you know. But the most tricky ones are even what looks like it's as important, or what looks like a noble cause, but it's a distraction for you. And I'll talk about that later. I believe that anything that does not inch you closer to serving that purpose, no matter how well-meaning, is a distraction. And we need to be very careful about those, especially when we have very huge, ambitious whys, right? Now, let's talk about speak to impact. And I'm also going to share 3 things that I think we need to be mindful of. 1, we need to understand the audience that we have attracted through living purposely. So the behavior, your actions, the way you live your life will build you a brand and attract certain people who would want to listen to you. You need to understand that audience so that you can tailor your message to transform them, okay? Now, while you're living the life that you're supposed to be living, or you're living in your purpose, you will build credibility because you're being authentic. And that credibility will build you an ethos, which will attract people to you. While you're living that life, you will go through shifts, which are stories that you can tell when you communicate. And that is your pathos. And those stories are what are going to connect with your audience, that emotional connection, to get them to feel something. And then logos is how you connect those dots. Now, remember that if you're speaking to impact, you need to remember and understand what it means to impact and craft everywhere to do so. Okay? So from the struggles in trying to achieve whatever the purpose is, through the shifts that happen to you and the success stories, you need to reframe your lenses and then so that you see every challenge, whether yours or anybody around you in your camp, as an opportunity for documenting struggles, which make beautiful stories. Your application of the right leadership principles will generate that right shift. And your lessons and successes are the triumphs you share to gain engagement and push for transformation. Now, mind you, if what you're saying does not cause change and transformation in the listener, then you're just basically making noise. You're not really impacting. So we also need to have a way of measuring to make sure that the message we're sending across is creating change in the listener. And that is what we call communicating to impact. Let me quickly share a few anecdotes from my life to drive the point home. So when I came back from university first level to Ghana, I just felt a need to contribute to national development. I felt a need to contribute my culture as a Ghanaian. And so for me, my why that I was driving me was just jump in the public service and put in your own. And I was running around, yes, sometimes teased for God and country, but I felt a need and a hunger to serve. Then beyond that, I realized that was not enough. So I was still being haunted. And so I started going into youth engagement, and I spent a lot of time with the youth, training, connecting, and so forth and so on. But there was still a lot of frustration because it felt like with all the energy I was putting in, I was probably yielding maybe about 10% results or 5% results. Yes, sometimes those 5% are enough, but it also depends on what your targets are. Then through the public service, which I ended up spending about 12 years, I got into training in Gempa, and now some of the people that I was struggling to impact were not coming for my classes as a trainer, and I felt I was doing a lot more training, and that was exciting. That later segued into corporate engagement, facilitation, keynote speaking, and then within Toastmasters, club training. Now, I joined Toastmasters when I'd gone to Korea in 2010, and I was trying to figure out how do I do more and how do I give more? And it was super exciting to join Toastmasters. I remember I checked if we had a club in Ghana, and yes, we did, but we only had one. And I developed myself because I wanted to come back as a distinguished Toastmaster so that I can impact and grow the community and grow the value for Ghana. And I was able to contribute heavily to the community in Ghana. At that time, most of the people who were members in the club were my mentees. So they say, Papa, mentor, Papa. But at some point, I realized I was burning out. I was burning out because I didn't have the energy to mentor everybody. And so at that time, I had to go through a revolution in my mind because the sort of impact I wanted to make, engaging one-on-one to mentor people one-on-one was not going to work. It was futile. And so now I had to make a critical decision to now delegate mentorship where people came to me to others. So I focus on the leaders. Now, when I focus on mentoring the leaders who are mentoring other people, that allows me to have a multiplying effect. And so I saw growth and I saw this thing, and I had to pull back a bit. So I saw a lot of growth, and now we have a lot of independent leaders who are doing amazing and may not even know I exist. And that was a great shift. Sometimes you need to, and remember that distraction I spoke about. Sometimes you may have the right intentions, but at the place that you need to operate, the way you operate also matters. So we went beyond that. I got into becoming a connector, connecting a lot of people to a point where now I can even meet somebody and I say, hey, you know what? There's somebody you have to meet. I don't know who it is, but I feel that there's a story there. And funny enough, when I do find the person I'm supposed to meet and I call them, they actually have to link up. It's crazy. It's almost feels spiritual, right? Then I got into building communities, and two of the lovely communities we have now that I'm very excited about. One of them is Mayema. It has some of the most phenomenal women on it, 430. And we have Tech Connect. Tech Connect has over 215 decision makers in tech, and so forth and so on. And there's many more coming. So the impact was much, much, much more visible, right? At some point, I realized, wait a second. And it came to me clear. In the next 20 years, I want to build 2 million leaders, okay? And I want to impact 100 million lives. And all of a sudden it hit me. I'm going about it all wrong. Because you see, 100 million lives is a lot of people. And the way I'm operating, there's no way I'm going to make that kind of impact. Now, it's very easy for people to say, oh, social media is the way. But remember that I'm talking about impact. Impact that arrests them and gets them to change and turn around. Not just motivation to get them excited, which means I need to use tools that would allow me to viscerally connect with them, shake them out of apathy, be crystal clear about how that change can happen, and have them impacted. And that is now my new mission or my new approach. And so with this what, and operating in the agency of now, which is my when, and over the next 20 years, I now realize that if I'm going to even impact the youth, I need to find resilient youth, because I cannot afford to pour into youth who just go back and go and sleep and make excuses. So I need the youth that are resilient, who will take the message, run with it, and impact other people. And in one of my songs from the past, if you look for it, it's called The Drums Are Talking. And there's a saying in there that says the message is not for all, but for those who have all in mind to implement and make it beneficial for all. And so, yes, then there's a conversation I had with one of my best clients and my cousin, my brother, recently about a book he read talking about givers. It's also important for me to find givers that I can give to with the intention that they will also give and multiply. So I cannot afford to pour into those who just take, because then I don't have the multiplying effect. And it's like I said, it feels like you're running against time, and it feels like you're being haunted. And so you want to deliver on that mandate. And doing so, you need to make sure you're doing it right. Otherwise, you never really take a breather. Then you have to look for transformative leaders. So I need to find the tools to understand the transformative leaders that I can connect with. For example, I love this program that Sammy Yin has put together. Why do I love it? First of all, Saturday is not one of those days that people will just get up and casually join. Everybody who's here, who's not out having fun, connecting, is somebody who values leadership. And that's why they're here. And so the likelihood that these are givers who are going to take the information and multiply it is high. And so this is an exciting platform for me to be on, because of the right audience. Also, ambitious leaders who have big dreams about impacting lives as well. So even if it's a leader who has wants to impact 1,000 lives, or another leader who wants to impact 1 million lives, it makes it more realistic for me to hit or impact those 100 million that I'm looking at. So where? I've talked about when, I've talked about who, and I've talked about what. So where? Well, I'm very pro or Pan-African. So I'm very pro Ghana to Africa to the world. And if you look at some of the communities, that's the way we've built them. We build them from people we've engaged in Ghana. Now we're looking at Africa, and eventually we hope to see Africa. I don't even want to see Africa rising, because we're already rising. I want to see Africa leading, right, the rest of the world in ethical, in love, in connection, in community, in service, right? Now, how have my house changed over time? Like I said already, initially was mentoring the youth, came to mentoring a number of Toastmasters, came to mentoring a number of Toastmasters leaders, coaching and pushing thought leaders. And now I'm very excited that I have a few strong leaders that I'm coaching. Some I'm getting excited on going on podcasts and things like that, so they can also share that message and impact as many people. There have been keynotes, there have been training, there have been facilitation, and so forth and so on. But I'm also very excited that while I was division director of Ghana Toastmasters, we went an extra step to connect with Rotary, and that's how I became a Rotarian. And through that, we're also expanding the circle of influence. And so these are some of the things. Now, some of the things recently I've become very careful about, and I think I was talking to one of our Toastmasters clubs about it. There was a young lady who joined one of our clubs, and she insisted that for her to sign up, she wants Papakis to mentor her. Now over there, I didn't make a big deal out of it, but later I called the president of the club and I said, I've shared my vision with you, right? She said, yes. I called also the treasurer of the club and said, I've shared my vision with you guys. I said, yes. I said, but do you guys still think it's realistic for me to get to impacting 100 million lives? And they both said, right? That's almost impossible. And I said, yes, but it's even more impossible if you're going to bring everybody who wants me to mentor them to me and ask me to mentor them. How are you testing to make sure that they will contribute to the at least 1 million to the 100 million? How are you sure that they are the right leaders, right? And they totally understood me and said, yes, we failed. We should have at least tested. I said, at least let them get in the program and show you that they are one of the people that will multiply, right? And so, even though it's a beautiful gesture and it's a right cause, it is not the right cause for me. So even though, yes, those people have to be mentored, and I hope that they get all the support, for me to mentor them at this time, it's a distraction because of what or where the vision is and where I need to get to. And so we need to be careful. Sometimes beautiful people come to us in beautiful moments and they seem like the right moment and the right thing, but they can be a distraction depending on where you are in living that purpose. And that is why leading with purpose, you have to be intentional about who you're engaging, what you're engaging, where you are, how fast you are, and how you spend your time, what you say no to, what you say yes to. And the stories that you tell, you need to make sure that you build that ethos. So when you tell that story, every word that you craft is crafted in uplifting lives, is crafted in impacting people, and it's crafted in creating transformation and change. So part of my strategy for speaking to impact, start with the end in mind. You need to have a clear end of what you're trying to achieve and the end in mind. Also, an impactful message, remember, is one single memorable idea that changes what your audience thinks, feels, or does next. And if you don't do that, then that's noise, right? So remember that you need to change how they think, what beliefs must shift. You need to think about it. You need to determine what emotion must rise when they connect with you. And then you need to enhance what they would do when they leave within the next 24 to 72 hours so they become what it is that you need them to become. So, Sam, I really want to be able to answer a lot of questions, so I don't want to go too much past this, but I do want to say that I hope that everybody here, when you leave this talk, will start to make a choice to lead. And in making a choice to lead, try to understand the purpose of your leadership and why you're a leader, and galvanize the people or the people that follow you around that purpose, and ensure that, and by the way, it's no longer about getting people to buy into your vision. It's about finding the people who already have that vision within them to wake it up and connect with yours. That's much more sustainable. I've already told you that I came across Toastmasters in Korea. I found out there was one club in Ghana. I committed myself to becoming a DTM so I could make a difference. I discovered influence. I collaborated with the right people, and being on this program is a form of collaboration with a powerful person like Sami Yim and Sarah. I became a Rotarian, learning service, but even then, in learning and yielding service, at some point I asked, is this the right way of me giving service, even with this community? So recently, I've also done a few changes in my life in terms of how I even want to serve as a Rotarian and where I give the most impact. I'm using other tools like music in the same conversation about speaking to impact or connecting to impact or communicating to impact. I'm building communities. Some have failed, but I've learned through them. Some have also had distractions. Recently, we all hear about AI, artificial intelligence. I've embraced it, and I'm using it as a tool, being very specific and making sure that it is not a distraction, but it's fitting in the purpose as a leader. I through that started podcasting and so forth and so on. And currently I have about close to 300 episodes of podcasts that I drive people to go watch. In fact, now if a student comes to me and says, I want to be a mentee of yours, I say, go watch the 300 episodes. And if they finish, I know they are resilient. If they don't finish and they make excuses, that's fine, right? I'll find somebody or delegate somebody to mentor them, but then I don't get distracted. So 4 things to walk away with. Find your purpose for leading and make sure that you lead with purpose, and all your decisions, your 4 W's and your H are driven around the why, which is your purpose. 2, let it drive the way you manage your time and so forth and so on. 3, learn to communicate your impact by taking note of the way you're living your life authentically by creating powerful stories through all your engagements and by telling it in a way that it creates impact and creates change, having a clear mindset of what you want to achieve with them. I'll be happy if you join the Toastmasters Club or a Rotarian Club, but anyway, that's by the way. And just ensure that whatever it is, you don't get distracted just because it looks like a good package. So when things come to you and they don't fit neatly in your reason for leading with purpose, or your or how or the story you're going to be telling when you communicate the impact, then maybe it's not for you. Thank you so much, Sam, and I'm ready to engage.
All right. Thank you. Hello.
Yes, Sam, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see myself.
Yeah, that's
It's strange. Gideon, what's happening? I can't see myself. I can only see Papa. So let's see what's going on. Good. All right. Good. Thank you so very much, Papa. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Wonderful. I mean, this is very beautiful. There are a few quick things. I don't want us to miss anything that I just want you to just summarize. When you talked about purpose, you said there were three things you wanted to say or to share. I maybe I didn't take proper notes, but I got only one. Name your non-negotiable why. I didn't pick the two. Okay. So
let me quickly go to the two.
If you can get the two, so that nobody loses it. So one, your non-negotiable why.
Are you ready for the second one?
Yeah, the second one is
determine your 4 W's from it.
Okay, determine your 4 W's. Yes, I got the 4 W's. Okay, your 4 W's.
Yeah, the 4 W's from it. That's the second one.
Okay.
And the third one is let it drive how you spend your time, how you communicate your brand, how you engage the world.
Okay. How you spend your time and so on. Okay, so I got that now. Then on the speak to impact, also you started with the three things you wanted to share. And there again, I would be grateful if you would just summarize the three things. Name your audience.
Understand your audience, the audience you are attracting, and analyze their needs. That's the first one. Understand the audience you are attracting.
Number two.
And analyze their needs. The second one is establish your ethos. That's appeal to credibility. Your pathos. That's appeal to emotion, which will be done by stories. And your logos. That's appeal to logic. These are persuasive tools that transform the person who's listening to you to be the
so that's number two.
That's number two. Number three, understand what it means to impact.
Okay.
And craft every word to do so.
Okay. Great. And guys, I hope that this is putting the things in perspective. Papa, I love this. I love your story. And for me, what was coming through to me is how you are evolving the implementation of your purpose at every stage, where you get to a point where you say, I think I need to go to a higher level. And what I see is constant growth, the issue of learning, unlearning, relearning, and moving to the next level. There are so many people who have started a purpose and they seem to have been blocked. What would be your advice for them for how do they regenerate themselves so they keep the purpose and keep growing? What would be your advice?
Sam, the funny thing about purpose, and sometimes I think of it as a destination, is that God in his benevolence and his grace gives us a number of things that drive us towards it. So sometimes when you lose your way and you lose the map, there are other factors you need to use or test. So one, what are you passionate about right now? Let's say the passion is dead. What is haunting you? What assignment is haunting you? Let's say you can't feel that. What natural talents do you have? Let's say you can't feel that. Who is coming your way you didn't expect? There are so many things that he uses to trigger us back on our path. And so we need to pay attention to them. So you may lose sight of where you're going, but then you may find the map. If you don't find the map, you may figure out what is fueling you. If you don't find that, you may find something haunting or chasing you. Or you may come across somebody that will make you feel something so deep that it wakes you up like, hey, you need to wake up. Kind of like Jonah trying to swerve and jumping into the pool and the whale catching him. Something is going to catch you. And if you pay attention well enough, you'll pick it up. Sometimes we get lost also in ingratitude, in the sense that we keep thinking about our problems and they overshadow us so badly that we forget the service we're supposed to give. So when we retweak our minds and get into gratitude, then we will actually notice the tools that are around us that we didn't see that help us to get back on track.
Right. Thank you so very much. Guys, we will take a quick short break. And as you know, at CTL, we are warming up and heading towards our annual leadership conference. We are here to impact you. This platform is just a preparatory ground for your learning, give you some ideas so you can go and learn and pick these thoughts and develop them. But annually, we gather with a group of powerful leaders and learn and energize our purposes. And it is called Live to Lead. We will take a short break and take an advert. We are going to have powerful leaders, and we hope you'll be there. Let's take a short, quick video on Live to Lead, and then we'll come to take your questions and your comments.
Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. People need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John. I'm your friend. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Gideon. For those of you who have never attended Live to Lead, my question is, where have you been? Now, Live to Lead is the highest, most impactful program that John C. Maxwell has put together for leaders to connect and to re-energize and to grow in your leadership and your purpose. You go to Live to Lead and you go to fire your vision, and you see John was talking about exactly the same things that Papa is sharing with us. Define your vision, know where you are going, communicate them, tell your stories. And when you come to Live to Lead, you're going to meet leaders who have walked the journey, who have clearly defined their visions, and who will tell you how they did it so that you can also nurture your dream and your vision. So we don't want any of you on this platform to lose out. It's on October 10th, only 2 weeks away, Friday, yesterday, 2 weeks from yesterday. October 10th is a whole day. If you can afford to be in person, that would be great. The room is energizing. But if you're not there, even the virtual space is so powerful because it's not just your normal Zoom. We have a platform called Leader Pass, where you have your own private room, but connected to the whole room, and you have opportunity to relive the experience for the next 3-4 days. That means you can go back into the room and relive it for additional 4 days after the 10th. So we want to encourage all of you to click the links that Gideon will be sharing into the chat and register. Either register for in-person or virtual, and you will never regret. Those who come to Live to Lead every year want to come back. So please, we will be there to meet you. So Abigail Techi is here. I have Bole, I think it's Bole Ata is also here. Abigail says, purpose, how do I find, and Papa has mentioned that briefly. Papa, a few questions here. How do I find my purpose? That's what Abigail was asking. And that's Abigail, I hope you got it, because Papa was talking about some of the things you need to do. What are the things that interest you? What are the things that haunt you? What are the natural talents that you can share? Papa was talking about that. Benny Ayer is watching from Accra, and Olivia Okan say, he's saying good day, Sarah. But this fact you have noticed and stated, Sarah, is very interesting. Oh, okay. I think he's talking about the ladies there. Belinda Tete is here trying to share with us her learning. Name your non-negotiable why. Which will help to determine your 4 whys. We need to understand our audience. You gradually build credibility. Great. That's great learning. Please share with us what you are learning also. Share with us what you are learning. Engineer Johnson is here, and Emmanuel Ofosu Odro is here. Great. Now, Olivia is saying, talking about the distraction, who may be a distraction. Many thanks. So that's one question, Papa, I wanted to also ask. How do you avoid those distractions? How do you identify those who would be distractive? Okay. So that's that. Dr. Susie Puplampo is here. He says, go, Papa, go. Right. She's here also. And we have, this is Voices Behind My Crash series. All right. This is Voices of Influence, talking about purpose. Name your non-negotiable why. So, Papa, two points. I mean, just re-emphasize how this question a lot of people struggle with. How do I discover my purpose? And then how do you avoid the distractions so that you keep focus?
So if you're a Christian, I'll say the first thing is to pray about it, pray hard about it, because obviously, I mean, the reason you were put on this earth was determined by the Maker. If you're not, well, some of the things you can look out for, like I say, is one. And by the way, I recommend Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life. It gives some guidance. You can also read books like Ikigai. That also helps. But find, my belief, and this is my belief is that you're equipped by whoever made you to achieve the purpose for which you were made. Okay? Very simple logic. So what does that mean? It means you've been given all the tools for you to go on the journey to get to where you need to get to. So if you don't know the journey or you don't have the map, look at what you've been given. And what are the things you've been given? One, your gifts, talents. And before you tell me, I don't know my talents, start exploring them. Try everything. Some of us play it too safe. Go out there, try everything, and find the things that you're naturally good at. Okay, so that's the first one, talent. 2, what is it that gets you fired up, whether you're being paid for it or not? What is it you could easily do for the next 10 years and not be paid and still do it? That's your passion, right? 3, what is it that keeps you up at night? Okay? And if nothing keeps you up at night, go around the world, explore, and find the one thing that ticks you off more than it ticks anybody else off. So you may be with your friends and you just get angry, and everybody says, why you, what's wrong with you? Why are you getting so angry about this? It's tied to you. Okay? These are 3 of the things. I mean, there are a few other things, but these are 3 of the things that will get you to start shifting your direction towards your purpose. The 4th one, which is difficult to explain in full, but it's being called being fulfilled. You have to feel it to know it, so it's hard to describe. But it's that one thing that when you do, you feel a certain fulfillment. You feel filled. You feel satisfied. You feel my life is worth something. Okay, and so when it's your purpose and you're doing it, when you're doing it or working towards your purpose, you have a certain fulfillment you don't feel with anything else. And so that's sort of, I would say that one, experience that which you've never experienced before, and you will know, oh my goodness, this is what Papa was talking about. I feel a certain fulfillment in my spirit that was hungry, right? But if you've not felt it, I can't really describe it. So try the first three. As you're experimenting and you find that lock, you will realize that you start feeling that fulfillment. Now to your second question, Sam, I think you were talking about distraction.
Yeah, the second question is, how do you avoid the distractions?
So they are the easy distractions, okay? Like toxic people, like people who are asking you to do things that you naturally don't want to do or don't think are important, are the easy to see. Those ones are easy. If you already know that these things will not bring you any fulfillment or do not work towards your purpose, it's a distraction. And those ones you can avoid. Things like peer pressure, things that you don't see value or do not align with your values. But then at the same time, and by the way, to the first question, your values also point you there. So your values are, in very simple terms, the things you value. So when you look at the things you value, you realize that they also point you there. Not the things that you value that through peer pressure you think you value. Because a lot of people think they value, really don't value. They are peer pressured into doing so. And that's why you see a lot of people think they value money. When they get money, they feel very terrible because it's not something they never really value. Right? So we have to be careful about that the circumstances don't trick us to think that we value certain things that we don't actually value. So anyway, back to the second question. So those are easy distractions. When you see them, you know them. The more dangerous distractions are the one that come packaged as part of the fulfillment of your purpose. So like I gave an example, as somebody who knows he has to give a point to people, as somebody who's excited and knows Toastmasters is a tool that is helping me towards my, as somebody who's a Rotarian and loves to serve, it is very easy for me to get caught up in somebody walking up to me saying, Papa, mentor me, or Papa, spend time training me, right? It is very easy for me to get caught up in it and think that is a good, viable thing. Or, for example, as somebody who is in leadership, I may have a role or a position offered to me, maybe in Toastmasters or another big organization, and it's an attractive position. So it's very easy for me to think, oh, this is part of my purpose. Let me jump on it. But this is where we have to be very careful. Because even though it's packaged, it may be a distraction because it's taking you away from the overall long-term goal, right? So you need to always check to test and see, how is this helping me to multiply, not just move, multiply in my road or journey towards that purpose. And if you see it's not giving you that multiplication effect, or if you see that it's not varying you, or it is not teaching you lessons that will let you, sometimes it may seem derailment, but it may be teaching you a lesson to help you to catapult in the journey. But if you see it's not, you have to quickly advise yourself and walk away, even though it may look good. I've had some offers that come with some good money that I later had to think about and realize, wait a second, is that one of the biggest and probably one of the things I try every day to psych myself not to regret is there was this partnership I had with somebody, and it was that one job I eventually knew that when we finish, at least I'll be paid enough to hold me down for a while. So it was a good gig. It was a big contract. But then one day while reflecting, it was around the time that I had chosen to become division director for Toastmasters. And I realized that if I continued on this contract, I would not make the time that I thought I needed to make to be the division director I wanted to be. And so I actually did all the work, and then I called the lady and said, I'm pulling out. Till today, she's never talked to me again. But I am okay in my conscience knowing that at least I did the work. I didn't abandon the work. I just didn't follow and enjoy in the sports because I wanted to focus on making sure that I was doing well. Until today, I have no regrets in the role I played as a division director. So those are the ones we have to be careful about. The ones that look good, come in beautiful packages and seem like, oh, this is a good gig, but are actually derailing us from the purpose.
Thank you so very much. Just let me add one more thing to the beautiful points about discovering your purpose, and it is problem solving. Guys, your purpose is given to you to solve problems. If you want to discover your purpose, look around you for all the problems around and start solving some of them. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger your vision becomes. So focus on problems, because the quickest way to influence is problem solving. Many of the time we are describing and talking and complaining about the challenges that we find ourselves in. Those challenges, those problems are actually drawing you to your purpose. But because we complain and murmur, we move away and we think somebody else should come and solve those problems. No. And if you are in Africa, I think if you go this route, discovering your purpose is easy, because there are so many problems here to solve. Now, you want to travel to Europe, you want to travel to America, fine. But you will struggle to make an impact. But here, there's a lot of room for you to grow. So I encourage you to do that. And on the distraction, Papa mentioned it. The rule is focus, focus, focus. Be focused on what you want to do. And Papa, I can't agree more with you. The juicy offers that come. I mean, I am focused and dedicated on leadership development. And I go to organizations and they want me to come and do technical training. I mean, training on technical. I'm a lawyer and they want me to come and do legal training. And I say, no. I mean, at Chair University, they wanted me to set up the legal faculty, the law faculty. And they're surprised that I say, I'm not interested in that to set up a law faculty. There are so many people who can set up law faculties. I want to focus on leadership, because that will distract you. So focus. Once you discover your area, focus. Thank you so very much, Papa. I see a few more people in the room. And Loretta Tando says, energetic Papa, keep up the good work. Bismarck Makawalanga is asking, how wide should your why be from your non-negotiable why? Well, how wide should your why be from your non-negotiable why? Well, he's trying to make a distinction there. Emilia Banzi is here and she's asking, how do your family relatives, what do you do when your family or relatives appear to be the distraction? So those two questions, if you want to comment briefly on them. Bismarck is talking about the why and the non-negotiable why. So you may have a why and non-negotiable. I don't know if there's a distinction there. Abedonko is also here. All right, so take those two and let's see if there are any more.
Okay. So very quickly, Bismarck, I don't actually distinguish the two. It's your why is really what I'm referring to as your non-negotiable why. Once you find out why, you just have to be clear about making sure that you don't negotiate it. Maybe what you can say is that there are certain things, sometimes purposes can seem a bit wide, and so you are clear about that vision within that purpose and what it needs to look like. Let me put it that way. So if your purpose is, for example, to uplift 1 million people and turn them into leaders, maybe your non-negotiable why would be, I want them to be Christian leaders, or I want them to be African leaders, right? Even though, yes, you do fulfill the purpose of raising leaders, but maybe you want to focus on Africa or whatever it is. So yeah, but it's really part of the why. So there's no real big why, whatever. So I mean, I hope that answers your question. Now with the second one, this is tough, but this is also the truth is, look, I always go back to this story and you know, there are a lot of things in the Bible. It's interesting that we don't take it as seriously as we should. But so if you remember Jesus, there was a parable. There was a time when Jesus went to talk to the Pharisees. I think he was about 12 years old. And I think he taught them, amazed them and everything. But when he came back, I believe his mother said something about she had been worried and was looking for him and all these things. And he responded in a very casual, I was doing my father's work, which, you know, in our part of the world, that would seem a bit rude. Like, why would you tell me you're doing your father's work? Your parents are looking for you, you know, and so forth and so on, right? And I think there was also another one around his brother or something, like, this is your brother. And he also responded and said, everybody who does his work and does that is my brother, and so forth and so on. I'm giving these examples because family will always do family things. And sometimes they can be a distraction. It's not with bad intention, so don't fight them, right? But it's with what they know. So one of the things I know a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of leaders and a lot of change makers will tell you is sometimes their parents may be the best supporters, sometimes the parents may be the worst. And the parents is not because they hate you, it's because they are trying to guide you based on what they know. So a parent may say, hey, you know what, go be a doctor, because they understand. I mean, one thing my mother used to say, she didn't force us, thank God, but my mother always used to say, as a doctor, you will never go hungry. So I wish you'd be. I realized it wasn't for me, I didn't do it. Thankfully, she didn't force me. Some parents will try to force you, try to push you, because that's how they know to make you safe. The question is, have you committed enough to your why to resist them and still survive and not come to them to pay for the consequences, which is something people need to remember. If you are veering away from family, there are two key things I'll tell you. I mean, if you're 100% sure that's your purpose, that's the only excuse for which you defy your family, I'll say. And when you do, please make sure you succeed so you can come back and let them say you made the right choice. So you don't, you know, but if it's a casual whim, which when you go and hit a wall and come back to them to pay the consequences, well, that's going to be a problem for you. So make sure that you are doing if you realize your family is against it, make sure you are doing your homework and you are very sure. Find mentors who support you, let them guide you. Find somebody your family respects that can go and negotiate on your behalf and say, hey, you know what? I think he really has something, give him the space to do so. But otherwise, it's going to be a problem. I've had to negotiate for some younger people with their parents or whatever and say, you know what? Your son has something. Wait, hold on, pause. And then maybe out of respect for me, they say, okay, I'll back off a bit. Because parents and family and whatever, they will do based on what they know. I've had somebody who said his family just wanted him to be in the farm. So he had to defy his family to go to school, to go and study. And he failed 3 times. And each time the family said, so is this what you defied us for? Right? And so he had to continue being resilient till he succeeded to the point where he said, okay, I kind of see what you're saying. I respect it. So that one will always happen. People do not understand what you do. People do not understand what you see as a visionary. So they will definitely try to keep you safe. But you have the work to communicate to impact them. In fact, that's what I should say. That's an opportunity for you to communicate or speak to impact them by getting them to see things from your point of view and by galvanizing them to move from being your biggest haters to being your biggest fans. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I heard the story of Kofi Kinata, whose father happens to be a pastor in my church. When he started his music, the father did not agree because he thought that, this music industry and all the ideas people had and so I listened to him and he says that it was a big fight. At one point he had to run away until when he started, making good music and music that has moral essence and so on. And the father heard some of his music and he said, "Ooh, then you can continue." Now, what Papa is saying, be totally convinced with the purpose and make sure this is where you can succeed. Parents, relatives may not have bad intentions. They know what they want. They want the best for you, but where you have convictions, you have to leave them out. Engineer Johnson is asking, Papa, he's thanking us for the platform, but he says, you say we should look for the people that we can connect with and people that we don't have to connect to. How can we establish that? How can you establish the distinction? How can you know who to connect to and who not to connect to? Because every individual you meet has a unique personality and some unique gifts that they bring. So how do you differentiate between the two categories?
You know, what's even more interesting is being able to identify somebody who's been very helpful for you and realizing that that time or that phase or that season is past, and so not holding on to him. I believe we're on a journey. This purpose is a journey, that's a destination. There are people who are helpers along the way. There are people too who are put in your way to help you learn certain things, and there are people who are put in your way to help you navigate certain things. Some will hurt you, some will help you, some will just be neutral. And I think the neutral ones are even the most dangerous because they are not really bringing any value. The ones who hurt you make you stronger, redefine you, and help you to navigate something even further down. The ones who help you, it may be a season, don't get caught up in the help to the point where you get distracted from your purpose. What I will say is manage everybody who comes into your life, but keep them at distance if they are not connected directly to the purpose. They may be there because later they may activate what they're supposed to do 2 years, 3 years down the line. They may also have already activated that and may be no more useful in your journey. And I'm not saying don't be nice to them. I'm not saying use them, but I'm just saying that make sure that you don't distract you from the destination you're going to. If the people are not directly fueling the purpose that you're working on, manage them. I think one of the most dangerous things that happen, and it happens especially with pastors and things like that, certain people in the church on this journey get so consumed with the pastor that they are listening to, who's guiding them, that they now start serving and worshiping the pastor rather than going towards the direction of, finding God. Sometimes there's a professor, sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes it's a trainer. And then instead of taking the advice they give us in the period where it's needed and navigating and moving on, start to idolize them. And this is where we have to be careful that you don't emotionally get attached to the people who are helping you get to where you need to get to. You can empathize with them, you can gain them, but always, always, always look back and ask, are they the people you need right now to get to the purpose? And for you to do that, you have to have a very regular reflection program. Waking up every morning, sitting back and asking myself, where am I? Where am I going? Who's getting there? And what role is each of one of these people playing? And you will find out sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes it's very subtle. I'll give you an example. Humility also plays a role. So I'll give you an example. If you have somebody with you who all their role is to be sycophants around you, and you find that you're getting to the point where your ego is getting in the way, maybe they are not the best person for you. You may think, oh, they are great. They always say the nicest things. But is it helping you get to your purpose? If you have somebody around you who's always consistently negative, but that negativity is dragging you down, you may have to separate yourself away from it. But if you have somebody around you who's giving you a bitter pill, but that pill makes you reflect and become better and is giving you guidance to keep moving, even though that person may not be your biggest fan and does not always make you feel good, if that person is letting you grow, maybe you need that person in your life. And we have to be wise to know the difference, which is why I said, pray about it, reflect on it, and know the difference. There's this old change prayer, which I love. I think we all said it as kids, but we take for granted. Sam, can you help me with that? Give me the strength to change the things I can change. Give me the serenity to accept the things I can't, and give me the wisdom to know the difference.
Know the difference.
You can say that about the people too.
Makes sense.
Give me the strength to know the people that will give me the bitter pill, that will guide me through. Give me the strength, the serenity to accept those. Yeah, and then the wisdom to know the difference. So you're praying for that wisdom to know the difference. But yes, as you go along,
Wonderful. Great. Sarah.
Sarah, you were saying something?
Yeah, I said that is the prayer of St. Francis.
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Francis
Okay.
of Assisi.
So,
Okay.
Sarah, do you have any questions?
Yes, actually,
You don't have any more questions from the platform.
Papa
So
did. Yeah, Papa did say that to stay focused on your purpose, you also have to have metrics that you need to put in place as to whether you are on course or not on course and hitting the impact and targets that you have set. And I had wanted him to speak a little bit more how he is doing that to ensure that he's on target.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, Papa's internet has dropped, and so but we'll reconnect with them. Whilst we wait for Papa, I think he's back. Papa is back. So let me bring him back so that he can. Papa, I think your internet trip. Whilst you are away, Sarah was asking a question. Sarah, go ahead.
yes, Papa, I said you did mention that you need to put in place metrics to measure your impact. And I just wanted you to speak a bit more on that, how you were doing that, so we can learn from you.
Sorry, Sarah, I missed the first part of it. You said
I said you did mention that you have to have metrics to measure the impact. And to also, yes, Papa, I said you did mention that. I think there's a.
Papa, do you have two devices? I think you mute one.
I've just lowered. I've muted one. Okay. So I heard your question. How do you measure the metrics? Honestly,
Yes,
I don't have a clear answer. Yes, honestly, I don't have a clear answer for that. Like I said, a lot of these things are evolving as we go along. Currently, what I'm doing is I measure them based on and the easiest one, but also the probably the one that doesn't give me a lot of value is I measure them based on reach outs. So when people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I saw you in this program and this happened," or somebody writes an article that they tag me in, I measure those, I keep track of those, but those are very low numbers because it's not everybody who will say something. I also look at programs that I go to, but those are not real numbers in the sense that I may go to a program and talk to 1,000 people, but it doesn't mean everybody got impacted. And I don't want to use those numbers as well. So I'm trying to find a way to ensure that I measure through the people that give me credit. And the credit may not necessarily even be my name. It could be a concept I shared, right? It doesn't really matter if it comes to me, but if I identify that concept and I know it's a concept that I originated and it's being used to create other platforms, then I use it to measure and say, okay, this was done. So I've had people from other platforms who've given credit say, hey, you know what? You may not remember me. I joined Toastmasters, this and that, and these principles helped me get there. Ask the person, oh, would you be kind to let me know how many people are you impacted? How many lives have you transformed? And then I put that in my bucket list. So it gives me a general idea of, okay, these are, but it's not a fast science. It's more indicative, and then I project, right? So if I go into a room, for example, and I'm in, let's say 100 people or 50 people, and I find out that maybe 40 people or 30 people did a certain action that we requested of them, and then I extrapolate it over the next 10 events, I will take that average and say, okay, it looks like based on this many engagements, this is how many people whose lives are actually being transformed. And I try and project from there. But it's not a fast science. We're still finding better ways of doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you so very much. Anything more from you, Sarah?
No, I think
Please,
I have.
did you hear me? Did I come across?
You did.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good. All right. So great, Papa. This has been beautiful, and many people are happy that they were here. We will just give you one more minute to just give us your parting word. We'll leave the stage for you so that you give us your closing thoughts. I think Papa is frozen. All right. Gideon, give us the live to lead advert for those who join late. Then Papa will give us his closing thoughts. Gideon,
Okay.
if you're still.
You're ready for me?
Okay, Papa is here. Yes, you were a bit frozen, I think. So wanted you to share your closing thoughts.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you so much. I'm glad Dr. Susie is on the line. She's also one of the chairs for the upcoming Toastmasters conference, which is happening in April. For me, even though it's a short period conference of 4 days, I'm looking at this conference not just as an event. I'm looking at this conference as an opportunity for Africans across 12 countries and more to connect, to engage, and to rise as leaders to transform our continent that we love. Leaving here, what I would say is find out what purpose has been put on your life and live purposefully. If you're a leader, find out what that purpose is for you as a leader and be intentional about continuing your life from now on to reshape and to push that leadership agenda. Every time you have a platform to speak, don't just wing it. Make sure you take time to ensure that your words are going to impact and change lives. I'd like to invite everybody to this conference we spoke about, Lead with Purpose, Speak with Impact, Speak to Impact. But as you do so, don't just come as a participant. Start measuring the stories that will occur to you from today till then, and come to engage, network, and share those stories. Because one thing I've learned as a connector is that there's a beautiful image and a pattern, and each one of us are dots on that pattern that come together to make it a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place. And this world truly can be a beautiful place. But many of the good people and the leaders are setting aside and allowing those who are misguided and coming across as bad people to run things, and they are passive about it. But if we all try to strive to be our best, living purposefully, and we all speak up in an effort to impact, and we continue doing the sacrifices like people like Sam and Sarah are doing, putting up programs like this consistently every Saturday, and I know it's not easy, with consistency and zeal and resilience, then this world would be much better by the time we leave it. We don't have to be in it when it's perfect. We just need to know that we've also contributed our quota to make the world better for your children and your children's children. And those are my parting words. Thank you so much, Sam, for this opportunity.
Thank you so very much. And one book, in addition to what Papa had referenced, that I want to encourage all of you, if you can get a copy to buy, is John Maxwell's book, Intentional Living. Intentional Living is a very, very powerful book that orients you to what you can do to make a difference, and the people that you need to make a difference, and the time that is appropriate to make a difference. The title of the book is Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. It's a very powerful book. Get that and read as you prepare for the Live to Lead conference that is coming up on October 10th, Friday, October 10th. It's a whole day event. You can join in person at the Chartered Institute of Bankers auditorium. We're running this with the CIB, the Chartered Institute of Bankers. So don't miss it. And these are some of the people who are coming. John Maxwell is on the bill. Dr. David Dote is there. Dr. Nora Bannerman, an industrialist, is there. And many, 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 many others. You have in person, and you also have virtual platform. Wherever you are in the world, you can join this conference. And I know some friends in Nigeria and others have already registered for this conference. So take good care of yourself and stay blessed. Until we come your way next week with another leader to share powerful thoughts, please stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. People need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John. I'm your friend. Thank you.
And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do that now.